St. Nicholas Owen, as we see in this mosaic here, was born in 1562 to a devout religious family. St. Nicholas Owen had only known his faith to be one that was persecuted by his government because he was in England right after Henry VIII declared himself the head of the church. He was trained as a young boy to be a joiner, which today we would call a carpenter. He was a precocious young man, devout and very hardworking. He was also exceptionally small, probably what we would call today a dwarf. And he walked with a bit of a hobble. I like this guy. Yeah. Giant of a man. Young Nicholas became involved early on working with the recusant Catholic network, working along with the soon-to-be martyred priest, St. Edmund Campion. By age 25, he began to construct hideouts in people's houses for priests, because the priests were being extinguished, killed all over England. So for 18 years, St. Nicholas Owen would perform his regular work by day, and then at night, under the guise of Little John, which they called him because of his giant stature, he would work by himself into the wee hours of the night, and he constructed the hideouts for priests, which we called priest holes. And they were for the sole sake of hiding England's remnant Catholic priests and their liturgical articles. And he never built one hole the same as the next in order to prevent henchmen from learning where to look. And you can visit these homes today, which stand as a testament of the astonishing work of this one man's brilliance, his dedication to the faith, and to the tasks at hand. Many priests were cramped into the confined spaces of a priest hole. Sometimes days would pass before they could come out, but then, in the cover of night, quietly and always under the threat of raid, these priests would minister to the faithful, hearing confessions, marrying couples, administering baptism, and most importantly, bringing them Jesus Christ in the most holy Eucharist through the holy sacrifice of the Mass. And then they would return to the hole they had been assigned to go to. Well, in January of 1606, the home of Nicholas Owen was raided. And though Nicholas and others were hiding, the henchmen would wait for hours, days, waiting for sounds of anything to give away the hidden men. After 3 days, they found what they referred to as popish trash. That is, relics or vestments or some other articles used for the Holy Mass. Eventually, St. Nicholas Owen was brought to the Tower of London, where his work and knowledge became known to the captors. As the sole maker of the prized priest holes, he knew the potential location of every priest in the country. And so in a matter of hours, men could be dispatched and the entire faith destroyed forever if St. Nicholas were to speak. All they had to do was get St. Nicholas Owen to talk. Well, they put Nicholas on the rack and they stretched him to the point of excruciating pain, to the point where he had a hernia in his belly and it was bulging out. And from the force of the stretching, a metal plate on the rack was placed, strapped to him. and it was said to drive into the intestines at a point, ripping him open and causing his guts literally to fall out of his stomach. Did he die? No. Despite all of this, the interrogators got absolutely nothing out of him. Nicholas Owen would never talk. He never gave a single name or location of a priest hole or a priest. After several days of this torturous treatment, he passed on to his eternal reward. And the Catholic Church in England had been spared. Today is Good Shepherd Sunday, as we just heard in the Gospel. And Jesus first describes the Good Shepherd by saying that a good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And then a few sentences later he says, I am the Good Shepherd, and I will lay down my life for the sheep. So Jesus is making it clear that a good shepherd is a protector. He watches over and guards his sheep. He does not sit by passively when predators approach. He acts swiftly to keep his flock safe. He even lays down his life for the sheep. St. Nicholas Owen recognized that this is what priests were supposed to do. And so he risked everything, including his very life, to save priests who are supposed to be good shepherds, like the Good Shepherd, Jesus himself. Because the priest is not for himself. He does not give himself absolution. He does not administer the sacraments to himself. He is not for himself. He is for you. And this rings clear to me each time I gaze into the chalice and speak the words of consecration over the wine. An interesting phenomenon takes place. I can see my own reflection in the gold of the chalice. And it makes me realize that looking into the chalice, I see myself and I see the blood of Jesus at the same time. And I see that as the Lord's invitation to me to share in his sufferings, to share in his blood. You know, the meaning of the priest in the Old Testament was one who offered sacrifice. Sometimes we think the priest is the one who preaches, or the priest is the one who's in charge of the church. No. That's a preacher, that's a pastor, it's not a priest. The priest offers sacrifice, the one sacrifice of Jesus Christ. So when a priest says the words of consecration, he is choosing to offer Jesus on the cross. We are choosing to offer up the one we love with our heart, mind, soul, and strength, or at least we are trying to choose to participate in Jesus' offering of himself. The priest is supposed to offer up the sacrifice of Jesus with Jesus. So when the priest says those words, "This is my body," he is also offering his own body for the church. That's what he's supposed to be doing, offering his body, his blood, his life for the church. And we do not do a very good job of it, do we? And I know I'm guilty. We priests need to do a better job for you. But we are called to be shepherds. after the Good Shepherd. We are called to offer ourselves. We are called to lay down our lives in sacrifice and service. And it truly is beautiful, a beautiful life. This morning, we will bless this mosaic of St. Nicholas Owen. And on this Good Shepherd Sunday, it gives me pause to say thank you to all of you, Nicholas Owen, out there, who have been so supportive of priests. You know, prior to my coming here, one generous donor made a large donation to begin the St. Nicholas Owen Fund to create our own version of priest holes. So thanks to your support in this regard, we were able to make modifications to the rectory to house 5 men, which is why we are so blessed to have seminarians and priests frequently rotating through that rectory. And thanks to your prayerful support, we currently have 4 men from our parish already in the seminary right now. And we have 1 more entering in the fall. And our parish is frequently visited by all the seminarians in our diocese throughout the year. They love St. James the Greater. Thank you. Thank you. You may not have suffered as St. Nicholas Owen, but you certainly have sacrificed as he did for the sake of priests. And on this Good Shepherd Sunday, I want you all to know how grateful, how deeply, deeply grateful I am for what you do for me and for my brother priests. Your support, the way you are so kind, the way you spoil us, and the way that you support vocations to the priesthood is inspiring and very humbling, to say the least. And I stand before you very humbled, and I pray every single morning, I pray with all my heart that I may be given the grace to be the shepherd that you deserve, one who lays down his life for his sheep.